Today's a big day, and it's an exciting day for all Palantir investors because we can say today with nearly 100% certainty that Palantir have been awarded that £480 million NHS contract. Now, I'm going to share exactly why I think this is the case. A new article has come out today that has basically said that Palantir are being awarded that contract. We just now have to wait for the official announcement. But just to give some context here, we've been waiting for this announcement for what feels like a very long time. It's not actually been that long, but as a Palantir investor, we've been anticipating this for what feels like a lifetime. The announcement was meant to come in September, it didn't. Then it was pushed to October, it didn't. Then pushed to the end of October, we heard nothing. Then we were told that it was going to happen mid-November. It's actually the 9th today, and it looks to be happening imminently. So I'm expecting that maybe we'll get an announcement today, tomorrow, or Monday. Maybe a few days or weeks after that, but it does seem to be happening, so it's so exciting. So without further ado, let's actually just jump in and I'll show you this article. So this is coming from Digital Health, and this was released today, literally a couple of hours ago. I just wanted to quickly jump on and make this video because I think that Palantir investors are going to be very excited to hear about this and are going to want to know about this. So I just want to get this out as soon as possible. So Digital Health, we have spoken about them in previous videos. They cover a lot of the NHS news and UK health news, and they seem to be quite an unbiased source of accurate information. Do your own digging, of course, but I think we can take what they say here with quite a lot of confidence and certainty. So let's see what they've actually got to say. The title is Palantir to be named as winner of the Federated Data Platform. That is what Palantir have been in the bid to do. They have been in the bid to win this big contract worth lots of money over many years to be the supplier of the Federated Data Platform to completely overhaul the NHS in terms of how they organise and utilise their data. Because we have a problem in the NHS where, like with many organisations, big organisations that have been spanning across many years, the data is just so disjointed and it causes a lot of frustration and a lot of problems within the healthcare system here in the UK, where patients aren't getting appointments very quickly, there's long waiting lists, they're not getting sent home from hospital very quickly, even times when information and appointments just go completely missing, which obviously isn't great. US analytics and AI firm Palantir and Accenture have been chosen as the winner of the £480 million Federated Data Platform procurement, with an announcement expected imminently. So you're probably wondering why two companies have been named there. Palantir, of course, we all know, but it looks to be a joint venture. Now, Accenture have worked with the NHS before, I believe, and they've also worked with Palantir before. I don't know their exact role in this Federated Data Platform contract, but I wouldn't worry too much. It might be a way of reducing the panic of the NHS employees that aren't sure about this, or maybe of the general public, or maybe Palantir actually need them to do certain things. I don't really know. It'd be good to get some more information on that. But yeah, it seems to be a joint venture. I imagine Palantir will be doing most of the work, and then they will be like supporting, maybe having a supporting role. I'm not too sure. But it does say that they are the winners of the £480 FDP procurement, which is so exciting. It really is. And it's exciting for more reasons than just the money. Obviously, the financial benefit to Palantir is massive, but it's a real signal. It means that Palantir have been, in their previous work with the NHS and with other UK government organisations, have been providing enough value to actually want for the NHS to want to work with them again on such a big contract. I think they were always the front runner. I think they've provided a lot of value here, but it does seem to have been a fair procurement process, and you know, it's good to see. And I think that it really signals how Palantir are just so valuable in the healthcare sector in particular. I don't know why, but a lot of healthcare data does seem to be really disjointed. That doesn't just seem to be a case in the UK, but maybe more so in the NHS than other places. But I think what this will do is this will help Palantir actually infiltrate other healthcare organisations around the world, but especially in Europe and especially in the public sector as well. They will also see massive growth in the private sector, healthcare private sector, which they've already been seeing. And what I will say is, remember, this is not the official NHS announcement. Until we officially hear NHS representatives say that Palantir will be the supplier of the FDP and that is going ahead, we can't know with 100% certainty. We can't, because it's not been officially announced. But from what I can tell, this is an incredibly promising sign, perhaps the most promising sign that we've had to date. Palantir, the current supplier for the FDP and widely seen as the favourite to win throughout the procurement, bid in partnership with Accenture. Rival bidders included Oracle and IBM. That's really interesting that rival bidders were big companies like Oracle and IBM, and yet from what we can see, they have still chosen to go with Palantir. And I think that's very much based on how Palantir have shown value in the past with the vaccine situation, and also in the Chelsea and Westminster Trust hospitals, other healthcare sectors as well, the pilot sites for the FDP. Like this is all building momentum towards Palantir getting it. So it makes a lot of sense. What I will say actually is, am I surprised about this? Yes and no. No, I'm not surprised because Palantir were clearly the right people to do this, in my opinion. They've shown us, they've shown the evidence, they've shown what they can do. But I am a little bit surprised in terms of there was a lot of public backlash. A lot of backlash actually from even people within the NHS that didn't want this US company to be the supplier of the FDP. And aside from even Palantir being the supplier, a lot of people didn't like the idea of having an FDP because they thought that that would give people access to their data. Data would be shared. They didn't want to sign up and share their data, even though that wasn't necessarily an opt-in situation. So there was a lot of concerns in terms of, would this actually go ahead based on the lack of trust and confidence from the British public and other people? So I am kind of surprised actually, because we've seen time and time before, for example, the care.data program that was ran in England between 2013 and 2016, which was kind of like this in terms of bringing data into one centralized place for that data to be used more effectively and efficiently. And that failed because of the public backlash and public lack of trust. But that was slightly different in terms of that was sharing data with third parties, researchers and people like that. This is not doing that at all. But the general public didn't really know that. So there's a lot of backlash because of the past and how they now don't want this US company to come in who has been given the reputation of being a spy company, secretive company, is going to steal and sell your data. So I am surprised in terms of that. So let's read on here. Digital Health News understands that the decision on the award of the FDP procurement, originally expected to be announced in September, has now been signed off by ministers and will be publicly announced within a matter of days. Okay, so there it is. We were originally meant to hear September. Like I said, it's been moved and moved and moved and moved. And honestly, I wasn't even expecting to hear in November, mid-November. I was expecting it to get delayed again. Doesn't seem like that's happening now, which is good. I'm glad about that. And apparently it's been signed off by ministers. So it was held up because they weren't able to sign off based on there not being a good enough or enough evidence for use cases. That was what was holding it up. That seems to have now been resolved and it's been signed off by ministers. So I think what they're now saying is it's pretty much in the bag. It's pretty much good to go. It just needs that public announcement that will come within a matter of days. Very, very exciting. I'll be refreshing constantly to see when that happens. Speaking at the Digital Health AI and Data event last week, Ming Tang, Chief Data and Analytics Officer for NHS England, said that the procurement was complete, but sign-off for the contract award was with ministers. Yes, so that was about the use case, I believe. Ministers were understood to have sought more evidence for support within the system for FDP before signing off the procurement decision. In October, 16 trust medical directors lent their names in support of an FDP on a letter. So what happened is, we've covered this on the channel. In October, 16 medical directors put their name to say that they support having an FDP. They've seen the benefits and they think it will be really, really, really beneficial for the NHS to actually go ahead with the FDP. That letter didn't really necessarily say that they want Palantir to do it. I think Palantir was actually referenced in that letter, but it was more so that an FDP was necessary. Now, there was obviously that hold up with the use case situation, and delays just kept coming and coming. We were kind of expecting to have to get more public backing in terms of maybe an additional letter. I've spoken about that before as well. But it seems like they've got what they needed. They've got the evidence to show support of this, and they're moving ahead with it. Digital Health News sought confirmation from NHS England and received the following response from an NHSE spokesperson. The supplier procurement process hasn't yet been concluded. Now, like I said, until we hear the official announcement from the NHS themselves, we can't say with 100% confidence that Palantir are being given this contract. However, I think what's happening is they're going to be spending some time now making sure all the legal and formal documentation's in place, maybe seeing if there's any any legal challenges to the decision and things like that, because I do imagine there will be some legal challenges and some backlash and things that they have to sort out first, and then they will move on to actually announce it. Now, because it's not officially been announced, I would say that there's a teeny tiny chance that the decision gets revoked, and they decide to maybe prolong this and look into it a little bit more, figure it all out, maybe even go with a different supplier. But I think that's very, very unlikely based on what we're seeing here, and based on the fact that it seems like we can trust digital health. But like I said, I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm staying emotionless until that official announcement. But this is probably the closest we've got to being fully certain. If you've got anything to add, let me know in the comments. But let's just take a look at what Palantir stock's actually doing. So when I was looking earlier, just out of interest, I don't really care what the day-to-day movements are, but I still like to look. It's weird. This pre-market for Palantir was actually down. It is now reversed and it's actually up by 0.43%. So 18.57. So it's not doing anything crazy in pre-market yet. We'll have to see how it opens today. But I imagine when the actual announcement comes, we might see quite a big change in the stock price. Again, doesn't really matter. I'm more bullish on the fact that they are getting the contract by the looks of it, and if they actually get it, rather than what that means for the stock in the short term. Then on top of that, we've got the S&P 500 inclusion. So all of these catalysts that we've been speaking about for a long time on this channel seem to be now lining up. Of course, there's going to be particular knockbacks for this company, but you always just have to go back and ask yourself, have the fundamentals changed? Am I still really confident that, over the long term, this company will grow in the right direction? They are going to be in demand, and then make your decisions based on that. So that's all for today's video. Thank you for watching. Let me know any additions you have to this or any comments you want to make on this down below. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time in another video.